Well, hello there, and welcome to this week's Grow Wealthy Grooming. I am your host, River Lee. I am the founder of the Savvy Groomer. I'm watching my mic do this crazy thing, so I'm hoping this doesn't come off really loud. So if you guys could just comment and let me know how the sound is from your perspective, that would be super duper awesome. I'm just going to message someone to make sure this is doing it. I am live. Can you hear me? Boop. It's really tough. Echo. Boo. We tried to fix this. Oh well. So let's do it this way again. The worst part is I have headphones in there. So let me just change my audio properties. Let me try this. If I do this, is there an echo, guys? I don't know if you guys can hear me. Is this echoing now? Is it still echoing? I know the delay might make it. I'm trying to figure out why it's echoing like this. I just put there's like a sliding thing down. Is it still echoing? Still echoing. Quincy, my love, can you hear me? Oh, it's perfect. Hell yeah. Whoop whoop. I don't know why that worked, but it did. I'm so excited. Yeah, I feel like today's just been a shitstorm of everything today. Nothing's really worked out. It's all good because I'm here and I'm happy and I love what I do. I'm so happy that it's better. You know, it's just one of those days where like everything you do is just like, please work. I was like, why am I not going live? Because I had sent the reminder and I'm like, why isn't the reminder working? And it turns out that it had disconnected from my Facebook groups. And it does this occasionally where Facebook makes you re-log in. It's just very inconvenient. It's incredibly inconvenient and it frustrates me to no end. But here I am. So guys, thank you again so much for being here. If you don't know me, my name is River Lee. I'm the founder of the Savvy Groomer. And by the way, my first name is River and my last name is Lee. Someone asked me if it was like, you know, one of those like two names. It's not. It's just a one name. Thank you, Quincy. I think that's Erin. I'm not sure who LRJ88 is. And Jared, I really appreciate everyone coming to my rescue and letting me know about the echo and fixing it. Thank you guys so much. It means so much to me. So let's go ahead and talk about today's topic. Today's topic is not every customer is your soulmate. And I can't even tell you why this picture makes me so happy. I think it's just one of those things that I'm constantly talking to coaching clients all about how not every customer is your prince. Some of them are toads. So let's unpack this for a moment. So oftentimes when we're getting customers, there's no rhyme or reason. You know, when I talk about our soulmate clients, we talk about different things. I apologize. I'm pulling up. Boop. That way if I have comments, I try to keep an eye on Facebook. Oh, that's going to make noise. Don't do that. Don't do that. Facebook has totally changed. I can't keep track of everything. Sorry. Sorry, people on Facebook, not to be able to watch your comments. And it's so weird to watch my own face. So I got to pop out the live chat. As I can't watch myself as this happens, it kind of makes me dizzy and nauseous. I'm not even going to lie. Alrighty. So with what I call, there's basically three types of relationships they have with their clients. And we talked about that last time. And, you know, I was talking to one of my coaching clients and we were talking about it. And she's like, oh yeah, like sometimes you just have a hookup. And I'm like, yes, like the once a year and the, jump around kind of people are these hookups. So you have your soulmate client, which is the client that the second you meet them, you know they're the one. They have exactly the kind of pet you want. They are happy to pay your price. All of that. You know, it's just like immediately you two meet and it's bliss, right? Then you have your ideal client, and I want you to think of them like when you're dating, right? They're kind of more like the person that you're going to date and see how it goes. And sometimes you fall madly in love. Sometimes there has to be a lot of give and take. But it's not that magic romance of customer, right? You know, it's somebody that, you know, it's not that they don't fit perfectly. It's just more like it takes some communication, maybe some education on their part. Maybe for you, it's, figuring out where your boundaries are. Maybe they're going to test your boundaries and you're going to have to create policies in place. And you need those relationships, right? Unless if you're the kind of person, I have a good friend of mine who met her husband when she was 17 and they've only ever dated each other. Unless you have that relationship, a lot of your relationships are simply about figuring out what you do and don't want. And a lot of your grooming relationships are going to be like that as well. And then perfectly put, the hookup. The hookup is you're good enough, like the Tinder date, right? You just need an itch to be scratched. And this groomer will do, right? So that person doesn't really care about you or your business. They're just there to simply get their needs met. And whether you were your business or Petco or PetSmart or the groomer down the street, it's really irrelevant. And honestly, they're probably going to jump from groomer to groomer. They're not somebody you would really want to be in a relationship with anyway, even if they wanted to, because they're probably going to want something from you that you don't really, that they don't, it's just not, they're not a loyal person. That's not to say that they are a bad person. It could be where they are in their grooming life. I use the example of my mother sometimes, where she had growing up, we had dogs that we shaved down once a year. And you couldn't have said or done anything where she would have been that every month client. I mean, you could have educated you in everything you wanted to do. There was no hope of her becoming that client. It's just not what she was, interested in. However, as she got older, she got a dog that is just her heart and her soul. I swear she loves that dog more than me. And that's fine. It's just a lab. But she religiously gets that dog a bath every 2 to 4 weeks. He gets his bath. He gets his toenails cut. She gets him the little spa package. Like, she loves him. And when I was growing up, dogs were like furniture that happened to eat. But this dog is the dog that changed it. Another example would be, a friend of mine with cats. Growing up, they had a cat, and they loved the cat, and they loved their animals, but it really wasn't a big deal. Now they have a cat named Tippy, who's an exotic short hair, and this cat is so precious to them. So precious to them. And the cat is so precious that they're willing to do anything, bend over backwards, to make sure that this cat is happy. So they would pay whatever it cost to take care of little Miss Tippy. And so that is an example of somebody who, if you guys ever, depending upon your, experience, like my brother, I say, went through this terrible, disgusting hookup phase. And again, I'm totally judging him. I mean, the man, maybe I should admit this. He's not going to watch this anyway, though. But he would have multiple partners sometimes in a single night. Like, I think I've seen him with 3 or 4 different women in one night. It is what it is. And to me, that was gross. I mean, if that's your personal morality, there's no problem with that. I just don't want, I feel like getting sloppy seconds, I guess, is not great, but getting sloppy force, I think, is just a whole level of gross that I just would never want to, I think about the sheets after 4 people. And again, it's going to be, this is not to be listened to around children, I guess. But anyway, I digress. So you don't want to be that person, and you don't want to date that person, but he's been married and he's very happy in his marriage, so somebody did end up, he grew out of it, and now he's happily married. So there are people that have that. So not every client can be convinced now. It's so funny because people were like, what made you settle down? Like, oh, I just met the one. Well, maybe they'll meet the right groomer and they'll do that. I had a customer that I had to fire because she was a terrible customer. She was always late. She never tipped. And she just was never satisfied. And what ended up happening is I had to come to Jesus with her. And I had to fire her because she argued with me about pricing. I'm like, listen, you don't tip. You don't do this. You don't do that. And at the time, I was not really mature enough as a business owner to have a healthy conversation with that client, because I was in my toxic feminine energy where I was like, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Well, it was not fine. until I finally snapped. And when I snapped, that client, I was like, I'm done. I've had enough of your shit. Get out. Get the F out. Well, she went to another groomer, and they're like, man, she's like the best customer. And I think a lot of it is that person needed to be broken up with in order for them to go and be that Prince Charming with another groomer. You know, unfortunately, things like that can happen. So when we're looking at every customer and what is a soulmate, first things we want to do is start identifying traits in our soulmate. And I know we talked about this a little bit last week, but I want you to think about honestly, what does this person want and what do I want for this person? So what is the role I want this client to be in? Now in dating, there's lots of different roles, as somebody who's a small business owner, when someone dates me, what side of me do they want? Do they want the business side of me and they're looking to date a woman who's going to help them grow and challenge them and all of that? Or do they want the more sweet, fun-loving side of me? And part of you guys are like, well, they want all sides of you. Yes and no. Eventually, of course. But in the beginning, we all show one particular side. Some of my friends know me as very silly and goofy and, very, very fun and playful. And other people know me as very serious, very intense. It just depends upon what the role is. So when you think about a customer, what do they want? Do they want a groomer who's just going to get the dog groomed, don't educate me, hand me the dog, hand the groomer the dog, and make it look like the way I want it and tell me how much? Now, I'm this way with my mechanic. Before everyone jumps down their throat and like, oh my God, like that's a terrible customer. Not necessarily. Depending upon what you want for your customer, this is a great client. This is my mobile cat grooming client. My mobile cat grooming client do not want to learn how to brush their cats. They really don't, because their cats hate to be brushed. And so guess what? Brushing and combing a cat will often piss the cat off, and they don't want to piss their cat off. So they would rather me bathe and blow dry their cat in order for their cat to be happy and well groomed. And that's a great option because it serves both them and me, right? I get a customer who trusts me 100% to take care of their problem, and they don't have to worry about it. I'm that way with my mechanic. I don't want to know how my engine works. I really could give two shits. I have zero interest in mechanical things. I want to know everything about everything except for mechanical things and building things. It makes me nauseous. Like I don't want to know. I just don't. So if I went to a mechanic and let's say I did something that I shouldn't have done with my car, I don't want him to sit there and educate me. I don't. I really don't. I want him to simply tell me what is wrong, how much it'll cost, and how to prevent it in the future. And if that prevention requires me to do anything, then it's probably going to be back in the shop for the same problem. And I would rather him double check it when I come in for my oil changes because I'm not going to do anything mechanical to my engine. It's just not going to happen. I will, I might, if he makes me feel bad about it, I might pretend I'm going to do something about it, but I'm not going to, right? And that's what we do with our clients. If you have a client whose soulmate groomer is the kind of groomer who will not tell them what to do. So if that customer, I hate to use doodle owners, but let's say a doodle owner. Doodle owners are some of the most difficult clients to deal with because a lot of times we're not listening to their needs. So the doodle owner, do they want to brush their dog or not? Are they honestly going to brush their dog or not? That's the age-old question, right? So with that, if their ideal groomer will just take their dog in and groom it and not educate them, just fix it, then the groomer that wants to show them how to brush the dog out, how to maintain the coat, they're a bad fit. That's a bad match. They're going to go on that date, that first interaction, and maybe they don't hate each other first. The groomer's trying to educate the doodle owner. The doodle owner wants them to shut up and just groom the dog. First date, not great, but the dog looks good. You know, the groomer says, don't forget to brush the dog. The doodle owner goes, yeah, yeah, yeah. And they leave. They go on their second date, right? Their second appointment. Doodle owner, here's my dog, fix my problem. Groomer, well, your dog's matted. Doodle owner, well, fix it. And this is where the groomer's initial thing is to educate the client. But does this client want to be educated? Maybe, maybe not. Now, I always lean on the edge of explaining why matting is painful and how matting happens, even if they don't want to hear it. And the reason I do that is because I don't want, it sounds weird, like I don't want the karma of it. Like I've told you, you've decided, you know, I'm going to give you the information and you do with the information as you like. So this is how matting happens. This is how it's prevented. And then I give a client personally, and I suggest to my coaching clients, they teach their clients this. Do you want it groomed more often at this length and not have to brush your dog? Do you want to learn to maintain the dog? Or do you want the haircut shorter? And those are really your three options, right, guys? I can't think of another option. If you guys can think of another option, you know, go ahead and put it in there, and I'll check. I'm on YouTube right now for the comments if you guys have another option. But to me, those are the three options that we have. Now, that client will have to communicate to me. If my personal soulmate client will want me to just tell them the best schedule to be on. Whatever I need to do, just do it and send me the bill. That's my soulmate client. Because I love educating people, but you know, to me, I just want someone to trust me, let me be the professional that I am, and lead them in the way. That's what I want to do. Now, you might be the customer. You might be the groomer that wants the customer who wants to be educated. And you really thrive on that. You really thrive on a customer who's like, please tell me how to fix this. I want to fix this and teach me. Now, the only thing I will say about being that groomer is that you need to charge for teaching people. I love groomers that have blogs, especially video blogs, because owners are never, ever, 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 ever going to read a blog. That's not true. Sometimes they will, but generally they won't. It's just not something that the average pet owner is going to plan to do. You know, unfortunately, like we expect them to do such a thing, and I just don't often see them do that. So what I would like to see them do instead is create videos and allow these ideal clients or soulmate clients to then say, hey, if you want, I'll email you or text message you the video I have on how to properly brush your dog, or you can make some money. They're like, hey, I sell an online class that you are more than welcome to purchase, teaching you all about how to bathe and, you know, I'm not bathe, but brush your dog. I know it's so weird to just say brush your dog. I'm like, we never just brush a dog. Some people do. I don't. I think that's just insanity. But, you know, if you just want to learn how to brush your dog properly, I sell this online class. It goes through, you know, this is your dog's coat type. This is what I would put in. It's $100. It's $20, whatever you want to charge it for, and sell it instead of giving it away for free, instead of teaching every person individually, and say, all right, I sell this online class and I offer one-on-one training on how to do that instead of just doing the stuff for free. So that's what I would teach my coaching clients. So I would always tell you guys what I would do, or I would teach people to do, even though this is a free, you know, that's why we're here. But back to the soulmate client. So if you're like my soulmate client, someone who wants education, and I love teaching, then incorporate that into your business. Incorporate seminars, assuming COVID is going to be over shortly. Seminars, online classes, whatever you want. But make sure it's creating money for you. Not because I think you guys should be quote unquote greedy and make money, but you guys have to start making money in order to save for retirement. Eventually, you're not going to be able to groom. It's not a job you're going to be able to do forever. Doesn't matter who you are. This is not forever. So creating that extra money, creating a second revenue stream, it's going to help your business a lot. This is where you can say, you can buy the brush package. It's this brush, this comb, and then you get the online course and one hands-on grooming package. If that is your soulmate client who wants to be educated, that is a great option for that person. Someone like that would make me crazy. But I'm different. I love educating clients, but I just don't, at this point in my life, have any interest in teaching someone to brush their dog. And I think it's like anything. If you're the kind of woman, I'm in my 30s, and I the equivalent for dating, because we are talking about soulmate clients and dating, would be us girls in our 30s, where we meet a guy, we've been through this 100 times, where we meet a guy who's between jobs, he's doing a startup, he just started his own business. In other words, the guy has a lot of potential, but, is he really doing it? And as somebody who owns their own business and has owned successful businesses, at least 2 of them now, I don't really have an interest in a man who is just starting out. If you're my age and you're starting out, no thanks. I want somebody who's already established, or somebody, it's never like, and again, I know we're getting kind of off the beaten path, but like, when you get in your 30s, there's always like a guy that has like lots of potential, but he's just never takes off. So that's where, we just get sick of it. I'm just sick of listening to people with potential. And maybe this one person really is the person that's going to end up being the next Steve Jobs. But you just get tired of listening to it. And I feel the same way about teach me to brush my dog, and I promise I'll brush my dog. I'm like, yeah. Okay. Sure, you're going to do that. Okay, when I see it, I'll believe it. I guess I'm a little bit of a jaded groomer at this point. Not that I want to be. But it is what it is. At this point in my life, I don't honestly believe people are going to brush and comb their dogs. And I don't want to hear their bullshit excuse that they think is so clever and think this is my first rodeo. My soulmate client is like, I don't know how to fix this. I don't want to know how to fix this. I'm going to pay you to fix this. So another type of ideal client or soulmate client would be somebody who is the year booker, right? We all have somebody that we know, it's a groomer, that books out their entire year in the beginning of the year. So some of you guys get super excited if someone says, hey, can I book out the year? And you're like, yes, all of that, yes. Now, in my grooming business, I wanted everyone to book. I finagled my booking in a way that the only people guaranteed a year's worth of booking was the people who had every 4 weeks. But I didn't book their entire year. I just said, you're going to get the first Friday, this time, this place, to expect that. Now, as a consultant and as a business coach, I don't allow anyone to book more than 8 weeks. So anyone who is a monthly coaching client, I do not allow them to book more than 4 weeks. And anyone who purchases a larger package, like a 6 months or a year, is allowed to book beyond those 4 weeks. And the reason I do that is because I don't know what I'm going to do next month. And it's not a negative, just is the truth at this point in my business with my growth. For instance, in the last week, I've been asked to speak at 2 virtual conferences in March. If I had booked out till, let's say, for the entire year, and then I get offered speaking gigs, how can I, if I'm offered speaking gigs, now things change all the time too. So how can I plan out those things if my entire year is booked out with consulting clients? And how do I know those people are going to keep their appointments? So let's say if I say no to a speaking gig because I have a monthly client who is going to, book the rest. They want every Monday. Let's say they want every Monday at 9:00 in the morning, and they book out for the entire year. Well, how do I know if they haven't paid for the year that they're going to keep those appointments? So with grooming, it can be similar. You might give away a spot to somebody who wants to book out for the year, and they haven't paid for it. Now, for some of us, that's worth the risk. And for other of us, it's not. So knowing what makes you happy and what feels like a soulmate is important. So if a customer asks you, can I book out the year? You know your business better. And that might be, there's different ways of dealing with that. What are these markers for your ideal client? What makes him a prince, what makes him a toad? And everyone is different. This is why we have so many different business models. She's so cute. Oh my God. I love this coaching client. She said, I don't like doing every 4 weeks because I get bored. And I'm like, yes, and you do you, girly, It's, I would rather have the same exact client every 4 weeks and have a set schedule and have stability in my business. I like stability in my business. I like simple. I like easy. But she likes difference and exciting and, bless her. If it makes her happy, I'm all for it. But so if she had a client who, now again, if we both got the same call from a client and one client says, I want every 4 weeks and I want it to be the same day of the same month in the same place. That's my soulmate client. But that's just a nice client for her. That's kind of like a nice date. That went nice. But that's, that client's not the one. It's not my ideal client. It's not my soulmate client. It could be an ideal because it could be the same demographic. So let's say she's grooming cats because cats are easy for me to do. Well, we can do dogs. So I know you dog people. We never talk about you guys anymore. I know cat grooming I love cat grooming. But anyway, so let's talk dog grooming really quick. So let's say you're like, I love grooming Shih Tzus. They're my favorite. They're my model dog whenever I talk about it because everyone has them. They're all basically the same no matter where you are in the country. Versus Yorkies can be 2 pounds or 15 pounds depending upon where you are in the country. So Shih Tzu, 1/2-inch comb and round teddy bear face. Really nothing exciting. Very, very, very boring dog. I wouldn't say boring, but boring. So anyway, let's say that client calls me and my goal is 100 4-week clients. That client calls me and says, I want every 6 weeks. And I say, well, I am filling my schedule with 4-week clients. I'm happy to take you on a 6-week client. And, if someone fills that 4-week spot, then I'm going to have to drop you, unfortunately. But I'm happy to take you on as a 6-week client for now. It's kind of like going on a date with somebody. And it sounds awful, but you're like, listen, this is kind of a deal breaker. If you're willing to bend, then I'm willing to do this, but ultimately this is not going to work for me. Like I'm happy to keep you company for now, but this is not going to work long term. It reminds me of the people that are like, yeah, I want kids, but he doesn't want kids, and she'll grow out of wanting kids, or he'll realize he wants kids. It's that kind of thing. So as long as you're upfront and honest together and you're going to figure it out later. So I don't really care if they say, oh, I want every 6 weeks, because I say, well, for now, that's fine. But when someone replaces that, then I'm going to have to drop you. But when this coaching client, they call this coaching client who's got a mobile as well. And they say, hey, my groomer, I'm not unhappy with her. But I really want 6 weeks and she doesn't really offer that. What do you offer? Then this coaching client would be like, oh my God, like this is my soulmate client. Like this person wants to do every 6 weeks, which is what I want. They tip well, they're wonderful, right? So sometimes one simple aspect is one deal breaker. They're your ideal client, but they're not your soulmate. So when I talk about my ideal client in my cat grooming business, her name is Kathy. She's realistically between the ages of I'd say right at this point, 35 to 55. She might be a little older. She might be a little younger. More so between 45 and 55, but as young as 35 and as old as 60. You know, she has been working at her company for a while. She's at maybe not an executive level, but she's high up the chain. I could see her as an executive assistant or, you know, someone big in the business, a manager perhaps. So she has freedom and flexibility because I don't work nights and I don't work weekends. So she needs to have freedom and flexibility that once a month she can go to work late to groom the cat or come home for lunch at least once a month. So Kathy probably has to make between $75,000 and $100,000 in order to afford my services, or she has a husband who takes care of her. But Kathy's not vain, but she takes good care of herself. She probably gets her nails done every 2 to 4 weeks. She gets her hair done, maybe colored. You know, she doesn't buy generally designer clothes, but at the same time, she might buy something to the effect of a little nicer than fast fashion. So not necessarily H&M. There's some other brands that I can't think off the top of my head, but they're nicer than H&M, but they're not quite Chanel. So they're mid-range. So she would probably pay $150 for a pair of jeans, you know, or, you know, and maybe get them tailored, but nothing like, you know, insanely high. You know, she probably drives either, you know, a Lexus, probably a Lexus, maybe a Mercedes, but she drives a Mercedes. It's probably a lease or it's probably a car that's a little older. She's not the kind of person that needs a brand new Mercedes every 2 or 3 years. So the reason I bring all these things up is important because as I'm thinking about who she is and the way she spends, it's that she wants the best, but she doesn't necessarily want to go crazy. Like she's not going to buy a $100,000 car every 2 years. And there are people like that, but those people are very different than Kathy. You know, that's a very different clientele. That's the kind of person that buys Chanel, that, you know, goes every week to treat themselves at Tiffany. Those are very, very, very high clientele. And some of you guys in California, New York, Boston, you have those clientele and they're very difficult, but they can be worth it. I don't quite want those clients. I'm a little lower than that. Not quite Dunkin' Donuts, but a little bit lower than that. So as I'm fleshing her out, I can think about what kind of patterns she has as far as her purchases. And I can also do things like I can go into places she might go and get her hair done or get her nails done or get her eyelashes done and look at the way that she would be happy or comfortable. We have a tremendous amount of nail and hair salons, even just in the town I live in. So I live in North Providence now, and it is like, I mean, if there are less than 60 hair salons in this city, I would be shocked. Just on one street alone, I believe there's 30 or 35. And there's so many that there are literally in some plazas 2 hair salons. I don't know how they stay in business, but I had 6 grooming salons in 2 miles, so I'm not shocked. But I could go into a hair salon and be like, Kathy probably gets her hair done here. If she gets her hair done here, probably not here. No, Kathy wouldn't like this. And it's important to get to know her and her tastes, because then I know how she's going to react when she sees my stuff. You know, if I walk into a hair salon and I'm like, Kathy would not like this. What would Kathy not like about it? And you're not quite sure. But as you go to hair salon to hair salon to hair salon, you'll notice colors. You will notice busyness, things like that. You know, I would do things if I were you guys, like when you're going there and you're doing these things, go to somewhere like a, what's a good example? I mean, coffee is always good too. If you go into a Starbucks and you go into a Dunkin', it's immediate the difference. And I mean, you can go into a McDonald's or a gas station area where there's a coffee, a Cumberland Farms, a Wawa. Tim Hortons is definitely more of a Dunkin' Donuts, but you know, things like that. But you could go into a little local coffee shop and say, okay, is this McCafe, McDonald's style coffee place? Is this more of a Dunkin' Donuts, or is this more of a Starbucks? And you'll start to notice patterns. And that's your branding. And your branding needs to appeal to your soulmate client. And not every person that calls you is your soulmate client. And there are ways, as you talk to these clients, to figure out if you're a good fit. No different than if you were on a date and you were talking to these clients and you were trying to figure out, okay, if you're on a date, you would say, okay, is this person somebody I would be interested in dating? And there are more shallow things, but a lot of times you're just like, oh, it's kind of like an energy. Like you go on a date with a guy and you're like, this is not the one. And there's nothing wrong with him, but you're like, this is not the one. Now, knowing how many clients your business has to have will let you know how many people will be ideals versus soulmates. And you might have some, if you need a lot, if you have high volume, you might have a lot of hookups. If I have 40 spots a day, what's the likelihood that I'm going to have, maybe I'll have 5 to 10 soulmate clients. Maybe I'll have 20 ideal clients. And maybe I'll have 10 little hookup clients. Because what is the likelihood that I'm going to have 40 a day soulmate clients? Very, very few. And that is really the biggest difference between quality and quantity, right? And there's nothing wrong with either business model. You just have to make sure it's what you want. If you want a business model where you have high volume, the more hookup clients you have, the once a year, the once in a blue moons, I'm going to go from shop to shop to shop people, you have the opportunity to become the one they settle down with. But that will also depend upon if they have enough attributes that you want them to settle down with you. You want them to book out the year with you. You want them to book their next appointment with you. But before you agree to let them book that appointment with you, right? And pre-book the rest of the year, you have to ask yourself, are they the one? Are they the one that I would love to have? Are they the one I'd love to have for now? Or are they someone I wouldn't mind seeing if I just need to fill my book up? And a lot of you guys treat these hookup clients like they are your soulmate. It's this craziness. You'll be like, this client is a once-a-year client. It's like a husky. The dog is like decrepit and yeasty and bitey and pooping. Like, it's just like the dog shits when I put the dryer on, and he's yeasty. So when I blow dry him, the whole shop smells like wet bagel. And then you're like, but how do I make him pre-book his next appointment? It's like, do you want this client again? I would just break up with him and be like, listen, this was an experience, but I don't think we're right for each other. And hand him a list of other people. Here's a list of other groomers in the area. Peace out, yo. And I always hand them that because I don't want them to come back. It's not like, oh, what do I do now? But here you go. You don't have to say, like, I trust these groomers. Just be like, we just have a list of other options. Not your problem. Peace out, yo. Peace. Now, on the other side, you could have somebody who is your ideal, but maybe not the one. And that's someone we use policies, boundaries, procedures with to kind of see how they'll react. So if I were to use this in the date analogy, it might be like somebody who, I guess it sounds kind of weird, but like, you guys ever been on a date with somebody, and I'm really unreasonable human being. I'm very demanding. So I want the day of for them to text me to confirm, tell me anything I need to know about where we're going out, so like I don't like going to a place that does not have a parking lot or doesn't have valet. I am so stressed out about parallel parking. I don't want to drive around 4 or 5 times trying to find a parking spot. It really stresses me out. So let's say my ideal guy doesn't think about that because he's never walked anywhere in heels. right? And so he turns around and it's this cute little cafe we're going to go to, but there's no parking. And I'm literally driving around 20 times. And now I can't blame that man for not knowing what it's like to walk in heels as a girl. Can't expect him to do that. But then I would set my boundary, be like, listen, this is a really cute cafe. But I just spent 20 minutes trying to drive around, which made me late, which made me crazy and stressed out. And I don't like feeling stressed out. I hate being late. I think it's so rude. And then I was late. And then after getting lost and turning around and finally finding a parking spot, I then had to walk 2 blocks to get here in heels, and my feet hurt now. And instead of starting out on the right foot, now I'm like frustrated, I'm stressed out, and my feet hurt. You know, next time, can we please go to a restaurant where they either have valet or they have a parking lot? Now, a good ideal client, maybe not a soulmate, but a good ideal client would be, wow, I hear your concerns. This is something I'm willing to do, or this is something I'm not willing to do. And again, like we just said with this 4 and 6 weeks, this is something I can do, or this is something I cannot do. And then you have to decide, is this a deal breaker? For me, walking in heels 2 blocks is a deal breaker. I hate heels. Honestly, I like the way heels make me look. I hate wearing them. It is what it is when you're 5'2". So, with that client, it would be very simply like someone's late. Now, at their old shop, it was clusterfuck. It was just always a hot mess. So it didn't matter if they were 15 minutes late, because the dog was going to be there for 6 or 8 hours anyway. But you're a different kind of groomer. You do every dog start to finish. And part of you was like, they should have read the policies. But just like that disgusting but funny South Park episode where they had to, if you guys hadn't seen the South Park, had an episode where you had to approve your iTunes, you had to agree the terms of agreement. And it was to make you, and one of the parts of that was agreed to, it was that you were turned into a human centipede. If you've ever seen that, I've never seen that movie. I don't want to see that movie, but I'm sure all of us know the reference where like it's like face to bum and they're like 3 people sewn together. It's disgusting. But it's what was funny about the actual show was that everyone was like, well, didn't you read the terms and agreement? And it's funny because no one does. You know, and it's so funny when groomers are like, well, didn't they read the policies they signed? I'm like, of course not. Like, I've been going to the same hairdresser for, God, before Brona was born, so over 10 years. I have no idea what her policies are. No idea. I'm sure they're somewhere on her website. I'm sure she sent them to me at some point. But I have no idea what her cancellation policy is. I have no idea what her, late policy. I have no idea. And honestly, most of us don't know. If you think about all the people that we do business with, your doctors, if you have any personal maintenance things like your nail lady, your eyelash lady, your hair lady, if you guys have any hobbies and you go to things like dance classes or Zumba classes or the gym or a personal trainer, I mean, how the hell am I supposed to keep track of all of these businesses, policies, and procedures? It's insane. Now, that said, I do think there are ways to reinforce that and to remind people, and I'm not saying we don't keep them on the hook, but what I am saying is that we have to find a healthy medium between, didn't you read the policy and, and knowing that they didn't. And part of that with your soulmate client is going to be setting those boundaries. Hey, you were 10 minutes late. The policy is 7 minutes. This one time, I'm not going to split hairs. I'm going to let this go. Next time this happens, I'm going to put a note in your file. You will be charged full price, and you will not have your dog groomed. And I'm going to need a card on file before you leave. That is a healthy boundary, using your policies and procedures in a healthy way. And then you're allowing that client to show you how they're going to treat you, just like you would in the dating world. You would say, hey, I don't like this. This is not acceptable. I'm going to remind you this cannot happen. And because of that, if you do it again, I'm going to break up with you. I like the term breaking up with your client over firing your client. I think firing your client is a little bit different. I do say that a lot, but I do think that I like this more soulmate, ideal client dating analogy, because I think it is more like that. It's more about setting your expectations, making sure your expectations are met, having a little patience and a little kindness. Do not do that. Get in here. All right, he wants to cuddle, but he wants to like sit on the keyboard first, like a jerk face. Listen, your butthole does not need to be on camera. So I want you guys to consider that not every single customer is your soulmate. Someone who is my soulmate may drive you crazy. And someone that is your soulmate, might change. Between my two businesses, between the Green Paw Spa and Rhode Island Cat Grooming, my soulmate clients changed. They did. Because I had different needs. Whoop! Shelly says cat ass. I know! It's a cat booty. It's like I need to put like one of those little, remember guys with the dog with the glitter balls? I need to put like a little sticker over his butthole. Very naughty. Not everyone wants to see your booty. Kitty booty. No. Kitty booty here. So anyway, now that you've all seen my cat's lovely butthole. Shelly's just think about it, guys, and think about what do you love when a client does. And then again, I know we talked last time about making sure that you serve them. Because if I have a client who wants me to just take care of their needs, then my business has to reflect that. If my ideal or my soulmate client wants someone who will just take care of the problem, then they're not going to want add-ons and upsells. Because they're going to just want me to pick and do what I need to do. They don't want to be nickeled and dimed to death. They really don't. They just want me to do what I need to do and let me know. I have cat hair right up my nose. It's terrible. Shoved this booty in my face. Now it's all itchy. I know. I just feel it's like, ugh. Or maybe it's just like in my head now. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, guys, remember that not every customer is your soulmate. Don't treat these hot pocket hookup guys like they're your soulmate. Let them go. Or, acknowledge that they're just there to fill a spot and fill a need, scratch an itch. Your once-a-year customers are probably not your soulmate clients. They're probably not even your ideal client, but they put money in the bank. But don't try to convert them unless if there's other attributes that you find are really enduring. Maybe they have a really nice dog and you're like, man, this dog is super cute and I want to see him more often. But, if some guy just wants to hook up with you, the likelihood that he's going to marry you is pretty slim to none. Because he's not ready for that. And maybe this isn't the dog or the cat that these people are ready to blow, I don't say blow a lot of money on, but spend a lot of money on. I feel like blow money is more fun. Like I always love blowing money. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think some people act like blowing money is a negative thing. I'm like, man, I just want to take $20 and buy gum. Just buy gum. All right, guys. So I want you to think about that and think about how many customers and put them in the 3 categories. Are they like, wow, this was an immediate connection for the both of us. They're like immediate, like they want what I want. I have what they need. It's this perfect marrying. Or is it like dating where you're like, what do you want? What do you want? Can we, through policies and procedures and boundaries, can we come together in a way that we're going to have a really happy relationship for however long their pet lives, right? Or is it someone you're just putting on the books for now? And the other thing I want to remind you guys is don't treat your soulmate clients like hookups. Too many of you guys have these wonderful, amazing, lovely clients, and you treat them so indifferently, like they do not matter. You do this, what's called onboarding for your first appointment, where you give them a tour and say, oh, I love your doggy, and tell me what you want. You make this beautiful, fun, event, and then the next time they're like, yeah, same as last time, cool, peace out, get out. I mean, shit, treat them like a hookup. It's not nice. If this is someone you want to nurture a relationship with, nurture a relationship with them. But that is for another day. Ba-ba-bum. We talk more about marketing soulmate clients another day. All right, guys, will you take it easy? I'm going to head out because it is past my time. I'm trying to convince my cat to get in my lap, but that's not going to happen. He's just, oh, wait. Yes. Come on. Listen. Sit down, sit up. What are you going to do? All right, guys. I know I got my cat hair up my nose. He needs a de-shed. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I hope I'm going to check through the Facebook when I'm done to see if you guys had any more questions. I really appreciate it. And this was for this week. In case you guys missed it in the beginning, it is not every client is your soulmate. Sometimes you're going to have more frogs than princes, but eventually, you're going to find those clients that just really make your heart sing. And the important thing is to treat those people like they matter and nurture them. Because if you treat them like they're the hookup clients, then they're going to leave you. And they're going to find somebody who treats them better. Right, guys? Treat someone like they're a hookup when they're your soulmate. They're going to leave you for somebody who treats them better. And that would be your competition. Calm down, cat. All right, guys. Oh, shit. I got to do my sales pitch. So, for those of you guys, my bad. So, if you guys want to learn more about me or you want to learn more information, you can hop into my free Facebook group, Savvy Pet Professionals. There we talk about personal finance, business, and lifestyle. Sorry. Burp. Oh, crap. I moved things around and now I got to find them. It was funny, when I first started today, I'm a little stressed out because I'm not even going to lie, it was one of those things that I had, it disconnected from Facebook. It's just been one of those days where I feel like everything I do is just like, I need a break. I need a personal assistant. I need a break. Mondays are always bananas though. Boop, there we go. All right, if you guys want to consider working with me, I know you might be like, why the hell would we want to work with you, River? You're freaking crazy. And, good, bad, or indifferent. I'm a fun person. I actually am collecting some more testimonials because I only have right now 2 more spots for my coaching. That might change, but I only have 2 monthly coaching spots left. It's getting full pretty quickly, which is fun. I'm really enjoying it all. But yeah, if you want to work with me, there's 3 ways primarily to work with me, which is your Savvy Groomers membership, where we work through our business membership, where we teach you one business concept a month. You do a 1-hour workshop with a workbook, and we do that live in the class. You can questions and answer and all of that. That is only $35 a month. We offer one-on-one coaching. Now we offer one-on-one financial coaching as well as business coaching. Business coaching for one-on-one monthly coaching is $9.97 a month for 4 hours. However, if you would just like 1 hour, it is only $300, and you can always book that as well. Right now, Personal Finance Unleashed, our 12-week online course teaching about personal finance, because I'm sure you're like, well, how the hell am I going to afford all those things, River? The cart is currently closed, but if you would like to go into our waiting list, let me know, and I can send you the sales page where you can go ahead and pop into the waiting page. That will restart again in April. I'm very excited. We're on week 2, and we just started talking about budgeting. It's a lot of fun. Now, if you're wondering when can I see River in person, the next event that I'm going to be live is my Business Groomer Retreat. That is going to be in Newport, Rhode Island. It's going to be July 12th through the 16th. We have a few options. If you want to check that out, just go to savvygroomer.com/retreat. You can find out all the information on that. So again, I apologize. Had to do the quick sales pitch at the end. What am I going to do? Sometimes a hot mess. What am I going to do? All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. And happy grooming. Going to the outro.